From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Tonight on Cronkite News, how a new immigration plan could shape President Trump's first State of the Union address.
Plus, tens of thousands of golf fans are flocking to Scottsdale. We look at the growth of the Waste Management Phoenix Open.
And why medical marijuana dispensaries are facing a new challenge from the state legislature.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Fortessa Latifi.
And I'm Chancellor Johnson. Thank you for joining us.
Today, President Donald Trump hinted that immigration would be a main topic in his first official State of the Union address. Trump will use tomorrow night's speech to announce his plans for the long-awaited immigration policies. Trump said today he will seek support from both sides on his proposal.
And it's a big speech, an important speech. We cover immigration, and for many years, they've been talking immigration. They never got anything done. We're going to get something done. We hope it's going to be bipartisan.
Several members of Congress, including Arizona Representative Ruben Gallego, will be attending the speech with DACA recipients as their guests in a show of solidarity for helping dreamers stay in the United States.
But a stay in the U.S. will end for more than 200,000 Salvadorans in just 18 months. That's because the Trump administration terminated their temporary protected status. Cronkite News reporter Nicole Gutierrez spoke to a TPS recipient who's lived in Arizona for more than 20 years.
Arizona is home to nearly 1,000 Salvadorans under the temporary protected status, a status that not only puts their stay in question, but could also impact the Arizona economy due to their contribution in the workforce. Rolando Palacios just agreed to rent this space for 5 years. He's currently a plumber. He plans to open the ice cream shop in February, hiring 5 employees. But after months of construction and thousands of dollars invested, the future of his business is uncertain.
For now, I'm here legally, but in 18 months, I'll be illegal.
Palacios came to the United States illegally 22 years ago, but for the past 17 years, Palacios has been protected under TPS, a temporary protected status enacted after a natural disaster in El Salvador.
There are millions of people who are in limbo and who cannot advance to a green card. And not only will they be returning by themselves, but they may be returning with U.S. citizen children.
I love this country because it gave me the most important thing. This country has given me my children. That's why I'm going to fight to stay here. It's unfair because we came here to work. This is an ice cream business. I'm creating work. I'm creating work for my family and for other people.
Arizona has an estimated 123,000 Latino-owned companies, and about 30% of those are immigrant-owned.
Palacios' children, Andrea and Juan, are his motivation to stay in the U.S.
I want to stay here. I want to stay here. I'm going to accomplish the dreams that I have of staying here and continue with my business. I want this business for my kids and for my wife. I don't want them to struggle like I once did.
Palacios says that he will do whatever it takes to stay in the United States. That means even staying here illegally if the president does not extend the protected status or if Congress doesn't create a protection for people with TPS. In Phoenix, Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
Today is the deadline to register to vote in the primary for the special election to replace Trent Franks. Voters have until 11:59 tonight to register. There are 12 Republicans and 2 Democrats running for Franks' seat. Early voting begins on Wednesday, and the polls will be open on February 27th. The general election will be held on April 24th.
For years, it's been known as the greatest show on grass, but the Waste Management Phoenix Open is constantly changing to keep up with its growing popularity. Cronkite News reporter Chris Cadeau is in Scottsdale for the event's opening day.
Record crowds have become synonymous with the Waste Management Phoenix Open. In each of the last 3 years, the tournament has set a new attendance record. Last year, more than 650,000 fans streamed through the gates at TPC Scottsdale. Tournament organizers are working hard to keep up with fan demand at an event known for its significant high-end offerings. This year's tournament officials focused on creating more for the average fan.
The idea was to have something for everyone coming out. If you're coming out with your friends or with your family, we wanted you to have a spot where you can watch some great golf and have a good time. To that end, we built close to 900 bleacher seats, 650 of them on the 17 hole, 250 on the 18 tee box. We expanded our very popular venue, El Rancho, on the 12th hole, which is open to anyone that has a GA ticket. We added a large bar or cantina. We created a new venue called Craft Beer House on the 7th hole. So the idea is to offer more amenities to our general admission ticket holders.
The focal point of the Phoenix Open continues to be the 16th hole. 16,000 fans surround the par 3, making it a one-of-a-kind golf experience for both spectators and the pros as they cheer and sometimes boo.
It's unique to golf. It's loud and crazy, and it's a hole that you're excited to get to and you can't wait to leave.
And with sunshine and highs in the low 80s forecast for the entire week, the loud and crazy may break yet another attendance mark. In Scottsdale, Chris Cadeau, Cronkite News.
The tournament's biggest day for attendance is usually on Saturday. In each of the last 2 years, more than 200,000 fans for the grounds of TPC Scottsdale.
The nearly vacant Fiesta Mall will soon be home to medical clinics and education facilities. The owners of the building plan to invest $30 million into the mall's redevelopment. In addition, there will also be food and entertainment businesses, as well as housing components.
Meanwhile, in the West Valley, another healthcare clinic broke ground today. The Maricopa Integrated Health System is opening the first new health clinic in Peoria. The clinic will be on the corner of Cotton Crossing and Grand Avenue. The $70 million facility will include primary care, urgent care, operating rooms, and a variety of other services.
All of these services in one place, so it will be very, very convenient for patients to navigate through a very complex healthcare system.
We have a lot of residents here who are trained in medical professions, and now they will be able to have a place that they can work close to home.
The new clinic is expected to open in 2020 with about 300 patients seen each day and 350 employees on site.
According to a new report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, one Arizona county had more opioid prescriptions than people in 2016. The data showed Mojave County to have the highest amount of pain pill prescriptions in the state, with 127.5 prescriptions per 100 people that year. The report shows the state of Arizona had a rate of 70.2 opioid prescriptions per 100 people. This was slightly above the U.S. average of 66.5 per 100 people. However, the rate in Maricopa County is down about 10% from 1 decade ago at an average 68.2 per 100 people.
A new bill could require safety testing for medical marijuana for the first time in Arizona. Arizona State Senator Sonny Borelli introduced Senate Bill 1420 today. It would require testing marijuana for things like chemicals, pesticides, and mold. If passed, it would also lower the $150 fee patients need to pay to get a medical card to $50 and $25 for a renewal.
Another newly proposed Senate bill on medical marijuana regulations is facing some backlash from supporters. Mari Nelson shows us how the bill would further regulate the medical marijuana industry in Arizona.
SB 1060 would make it a federal crime for any publication to post anything about an Arizona medical marijuana dispensary without verifying its registration and address. It would also make it a crime to publish a dispensary address that is different from the one on the certificate.
We've put this program into play, and now we can't even have free range to advertise.
Arizona voted to legalize medical marijuana in 2010. Jared Neibauer, who is part of the marketing team for the Nirvana Center, thinks that being able to advertise and publish freely about marijuana dispensaries is a big factor in the industry's success.
This is a good roadblock that is going to hurt us.
If this bill passes, any publication found to violate these new regulations could be fined a minimum of $10,000.
Republican Senator David Farnsworth didn't return multiple phone calls and emails requesting interviews regarding the bill. But David Wisniewski, chairman of Safer Arizona 2018 Cannabis Legalization Action Committee, believes this proposed legislation would violate the Constitution.
I absolutely believe what he's doing is a First Amendment violation. Anybody should be allowed to say this store is open if they're open for business, and it's the burden of the state to see if they're a legal business or not.
These regulations don't just apply to any business, only Arizona medical marijuana dispensaries.
I believe Senator Farnsworth is completely wrong on all accounts with his bill. If you look at other states that have legalized marijuana, they've all taken baby steps, but they're taking other steps to make more freedoms.
In Phoenix, Mari Nelson, Cronkite News.
This bill has been assigned to committee, but has not been put on any agendas yet. Count on Cronkite News to track the bill through the legislature.
For one northern Arizona high school, graduation rates are soaring.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we'll take you to Sanders, Arizona to reveal this school's secret to success.
Plus, how plastic bags are costing Phoenix big bucks when it comes to the city's recycling efforts.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland, in Washington, in Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Sanders is a small town in northern Arizona, but high school students there still have big dreams. And Valley High School now has a higher graduation rate than the state average. As part of our Access Across Arizona initiative to take you to all corners of our state, reporter Cade Gardner traveled to Sanders to show us the secret behind those students' successes.
It's easy to miss the small welcome sign in Sanders, but it's hard to miss the Valley High School sign. Pirate pride runs deep in this community. Principal Verlyn Goldtooth pushes the students to do their best.
I want to see them succeed, and I'm coming from that background of the Navajo philosophy of it's up to you. You've got to make this work.
Dan Hugh, the superintendent of the Sanders School District, says they try to spend most of the district's funding on the students. Its revenue per student is almost double the amount of the average school in the state.
This last year, our graduation rate was 88%, which is 24% above the state average and 26% above the ethnic group represented in Sanders.
Hugh says that while more money in the school can lead to improvements like a higher graduation rate, happy teachers and a staff that cares are what really help the students succeed.
Don't underestimate us. Because even though we come from a small community, our teachers and everyone around us, like our parents, our grandparents, they expect a lot out of us.
When students come to school every day, they know it's up to them to succeed, and the staff pushes their students for one major reason.
My drive to do this is because these students here are my children.
A fire drill interrupts part of the day, but Principal Goldtooth will make sure the students are back in class as soon as possible. In Sanders, Cade Garner, Cronkite News.
Both Superintendent Hute and Principal Goldtooth say having teachers who care and students who are accountable are crucial to the school's success.
Several music programs came together this past weekend to offer a group of Mexican students the opportunity to play on one of the most popular stages in the Valley. Cronkite News reporter Lillian Donahue takes us behind the music to see what this collaboration means to its musicians.
The sound of music filled Gamage Stage as these petite players showed their talent, brought over from just across the border in Tijuana. For one night only, grade school trumpeteers, high school hornists, and university musicians from the Valley played alongside these kids, all a part of a project that uses music to break down barriers.
This concert we have today is to bring communities together, and we are literally bringing that on stage.
The Mexican children traveled to Phoenix from a housing project outside Tijuana to share their love of music, escape the hardships from back home, and get a chance to play with students from Brophy High School, among others. Students from the Harmony Project ASU have worked together before, but this is the first time that the students from Tijuana will play on this stage.
It's like coming to another world and, just for an instant, forgetting our problems.
Those behind the project say connecting through concertos gives students from both sides of the border comfort at a time when relations between the United States and Mexico are tense.
The climate that we're living in right now, I think it's really, really important to find opportunities to connect people with very different backgrounds.
It's building a bridge between communities, between the U.S. and Mexico. It's building a bridge from the hearts of my children to their hope.
In Phoenix, Lillian Donahue, Cronkite News.
Refugee children from Africa and Afghanistan also participated in the show. ASU organizers say they are putting on another performance with the Harmony Project in March.
The Mexican gray wolf has been in danger of going extinct for a long time.
But organizations across Arizona are working to reintroduce the species to the Southwest.
Coming up, how the Mexican Wolf Reintroduction Project is working to move the predator off of the endangered species list.
And Phoenix was the second warmest city today. Stay tuned to see if these temperatures are here to stay.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
Exploring, it's the lifeblood of the mission.
Human beings are a curious bunch.
What are we going to see when we get really close?
Just because an idea is crazy, it's not necessarily wrong.
We were on our way.
You don't get anywhere until you've tested the limits.
That carries an intensity you can't imagine.
You could hear people just, whoa.
Oh my God, absolutely spectacular.
It's a rush. We ask a lot of our heroes.
We are at a remarkable moment.
We're going farther than any exploration ever has.
Today is the 10th anniversary of the City of Phoenix recycling program. And while the city has made great strides, there's a big problem with what's winding up in recycling bins. Cronkite News reporter Nicole Randog explains why plastic bags are costing the city big time.
Mounds of recyclables whiz by on conveyor belts on their way to starting their second life. According to Phoenix's Public Works Department, many non-recyclable items are placed in the City of Phoenix's blue bins, causing the machinery at the transfer stations to shut down once or twice per day, causing great expense to the city. Plastic bags are the main culprit of the shutdowns.
They tend to think because it's plastic, it is recyclable, and they don't understand the way the machinery works. It's belts, it's conveyors, it's drums, it's beaters, and when those things are moving, the plastic bags get stuck in there, and there's no weight to them, so they aren't able to move through the system.
Phoenix taxpayers are paying $1 million each year so the city can sort through the contamination and fix the jammed machinery. Here at the 27th Avenue and North Gateway transfer stations, 250 tons of recycling is processed each day, and about 30% of that is contaminated.
If residents are throwing the wrong things in the bin more often or more frequently, then that cost will go up. So that's why my job as the recycling coordinator, the zero waste coordinator for the city is so important. We have to get the education out. We need the residents to recycle more, but also recycle them properly.
Make sure to recycle plastic bags at participating grocery stores, such as Safeway, that provide plastic bag recycling bins in store. In Phoenix, Nicole Randock, Cronkite News.
Other top items to avoid in the recycling bin are electronics, clothes, and yard waste. The Phoenix Recycling Program wants you to focus on cardboard products, paper, metal cans, and jugs made of plastic or glass.
The Mexican Wolf Reintroduction Project continues this week with the help of multiple agencies across Arizona. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, the Arizona Game and Fish Department, and other organizations are working together to determine the current population status for Mexican wolves. The data is being collected by flights across Alpine, Arizona and surrounding areas. If the overall population size is greater than 100, then the predator will be removed from the endangered species list. We will have team coverage on the operation throughout the week. And the valley is heating up with record high temperatures.
Holly Bach has the forecast on what to expect the rest of the week.
And a warm day it has been for us here in Phoenix today. We are currently sitting at 81 degrees, sunny skies and humidity just around 7%. Now looking around temperatures around the state, Grand Canyon at 57 degrees, Flagstaff at 53 degrees, and Tucson at 79 degrees. Now our valley is still in the upper 70s right now, but as we head into our evening, these temperatures are going to drop into the 60s. 65 degrees in Scottsdale, 61 degrees in Cave Creek, and 63 degrees in Chandler. Now we have had some gusty winds that have been affecting the greater Phoenix area, and these are going to continue to blow into the late or early tomorrow morning. And because of these winds and the low relative humidity that has occurred in the southern Arizona region, they have had a red flag warning. But if you are loving the temperatures here in Phoenix, then you are going to love the forecast for the rest of the week. We are going to be in the 80s for the rest of the week, and Super Bowl Sunday, our high will be 81 degrees. I'm Holly Bach for Cronkite Weather.
K-9 officers are trained to identify bombs and drugs.
They begin training as puppies. Coming up on Cronkite News, see how these heroes in training are specially selected for one sheriff's unit.
Cronkite News weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for At Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is training a new batch of deputies.
But as Olivia Richard shows us, these latest trainees are a little furrier than your average recruit.
To most dogs, sit, stay, fetch might seem like a backyard trick, but for canine pups like Ollie, it's part of a job he's been training his whole life to do.
We set the foundation from a young age that cooperation with humans is always beneficial.
George Danielos trains most of the puppies for Maricopa County Sheriff's Canine Unit and says danger and risk are just part of the job.
You need a really stable animal and you need an animal that's highly motivated.
Once they're born, training starts almost immediately.
Start doing things with puppies at day 2 of life.
Once they complete training, it's on to the academy where the pups are paired with their police partners. The training doesn't stop after graduation. Yankee might seem calm on the outside, but his human partner, Zach Herrera, says it's all a facade.
Tornado, he's chaos, is what he is. He's controlled chaos, is what I like to say.
Yankee is a dual detection dog, trained specifically in narcotics and apprehension.
Marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines. He's trained to detect all 4 of those.
As a member of the force, even when he's off the clock, he's always honing his skills.
It's not a 5-day-week job, it's 24/7. He doesn't get anything for free. He has to work for everything.
While it's a lot of work being paired with a police canine, Herrera says it's the bond that makes it all worth it.
Comes together and you're put in a situation and your dog performs the way you want it to. It is like your kid, watching your kid score a touchdown or something like that. It's the best.
In Phoenix, Olivia Richard, Cronkite News.
Danielos trains most of the dogs on Maricopa County Sheriff's Canine Unit, but he also trains dogs for personal protection.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona PBS and NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, we'll take a closer look at the president's ideas regarding immigration reform. And we'll hear about the increasing importance of the wine industry in southeastern Arizona. It's the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour. After the storms, thousands of Houston residents still displaced from their homes 5 months after Hurricane Harvey. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.